Hey everyone, we're just picking up where we left off the last time. This is the ACME Merchandise Distributors 1974 Spring and Summer Catalog. And we were at the last page of the camping section, and now we're getting into more of like the backyard ambiance, accessories, and barbecue stuff. So let's maybe just start on this page and see how far we can get today. I imagine we'll end up getting into some sporting equipment. So these are pink flamingos, which I feel are very definitive of the time that they were from. I mean, what am I trying to say? I remember seeing flamingos on people's lawns, and over the years they've sort of become more of like a rare thing. Maybe if someone's turning 40 or some significant milestone, you can rent these. But back in the day, you could just buy a flamingo and they cost $2.93. I really like these patio lights. They seem to be kind of plastic versions inspired by Japanese lanterns, and they're just really charming for some reason. I mean, today we can get backyard string lights of any kind, but these have a particular nostalgic value for me. I remember, so our neighbors to one side of us had a brown patio. It was like stained brown, or a deck, I should say. And they had lights just like this strung. And I thought it looked so fun. Like they would have lots of fun parties and they were just good times neighbors. Whereas we didn't even have a deck. We just had pavers in our backyard to make kind of a porch, and no lights. Just a jam jar light, like one of those. Almost looks like it literally looked like a jam jar. And it was, on our wall like a sconce. If you wanted to set a small fire on top of a stick, you could get this garden torch that uses fuel oil. Get a whole bunch of those lined up, and that could be a good look. Yeah, just other stuff that, I definitely remember these watering cans. In my memory, they were green, the ones that were in my childhood, but they looked a lot like that. Now, I do think that this one here is interesting. So what they're selling here is the actual like chef's hat and apron. And on the chef's hat, it says chef. And on the apron, it says come and get it, as far as I can tell. The picture on the apron is the chef wearing the apron that the chef is wearing and the hat. It's a very recursive, circular situation here, and it reminds me of Halloween costumes that I had in the 80s, where if you wanted to be Mickey Mouse, you would have a smock with Mickey Mouse on it, and then a Mickey Mouse plastic mask that you could barely see through or breathe in. And that was your entire costume. That's what that reminds me of. And then you could also get this apron here, where it's like it actually comes with oven mitts, and you could get it had a picture of a cow with the different cuts on it. And then, yeah, a bunch of other stuff that aren't super interesting to me. I don't know if anything here is interesting to you. If I'm flying by this and you think you remember it, I'm sorry. I'm just going to fly through it. And then a whole bunch of just random looking, just strange barbecue apparatus that I don't remember any of this. The closest thing that I remember is something like this, like a Charm Glow-At portable propane barbecue. I mean, I've seen these before, but nothing really here. These kind of look like Weber barbecues, like a kettle barbecue. And interesting that it would be red, and then you'd start using it, and in the inside, after a few uses, it would totally be black. But yeah, item D, the kettle barbecue. I mean, it's a good-looking kettle barbecue. Maybe it was as good as a Weber. To be honest, I've never actually used a Weber kettle barbecue. I just assume they're good because I know the name. But this is a much more fun kind of situation here. We're talking about pools. We've got various sizes, a 6-foot pool. We've got just a 60-incher, so like a 5-foot pool, a Coleco 60-inch pool. We've got item J here. That's the Coleco Jamaica pool package. And so that one is 12-footer. So it's like a full-on above-ground pool, 36 inches high. So If you filled it right to the brim, you'd have three feet of water. This is funny. You've got a kid in sort of like a froggy mouth life ring floaty situation here. It looks unsafe to me. This is the big mouth swim ring by Ideal. And then here we have the rescue raft and the lifesaver ring. That looks like something that I would have really wanted as a kid. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that it was not officially or literally a rescue raft or a lifesaver ring. And it probably had small print directly on it that said this is not for life-saving purposes. I don't know if you could have been a kid in the 70s or 80s without having these inflatable blow-up floaty swim aids, but I never saw them in blue when I was a kid. They were always orange. Some masks, swim masks. I can just like feel, when I see snorkels like this, I can feel the feeling of the air going in and out of it into my mouth and lungs, and how weird it felt to breathe while you're kind of underwater. Now you'll have to excuse me, I do have a bit of a cold today, so you'll hear that in my voice. Got some water skis. What is this? Polyflyer double bar tow line. So I guess this is just stuff for water skiing. I never really thought about this when I was a kid. Like, we never had a cottage ourselves, but we would make use of a friend's cottage, and they had all the things like these kinds of water skis and the tow lines and the boat and the life jackets. I didn't question where they came from, but you had to go somewhere and say, I need a water ski, and if I'm getting water skis, I'm definitely going to need a tow line. And I guess adults just knew where to get these things. Now, when I look at life jackets, I'm a little bit like, they have this one that doesn't look like a life jacket that I've ever seen as a kid. The Child's Aero Cell. Definitely never saw like a professional safety belt. This is in quotes. That's why I'm doing double quote fingers. Professional safety belt is basically a foam thing, I guess, that would prevent you from drowning. But here, like these kinds of sleeping bags, these pads that you put your head through. I remember whenever I had to wear these, it felt like the crappy kind of life jacket. The best kinds of life jackets were more like a vest like that, but you didn't tie it with a string. You would clip it with a buckle. So interesting. I do remember my brother had what we called a dinghy, an inflatable dinghy. These are just called inflatable boats, but it's the same thing. My brother had that. He was older than me. Somehow he got one. And I remember being in it on Lake Ontario. And in the 80s, Lake Ontario was kind of dirty. But dirtier than it probably is today. And that's all I have to say about that. We've got some fishing reels. In the world of fishing technology, these all look kind of like what you get today. I mean, there's not much to these things, and they're probably they're probably the same designs. Probably these days with a lot more plastic, but I really can't say much about these right now. I was a fisher as a kid. We go fishing, but as an adult, I haven't really taken up any fishing. That's kind of neat. A telescopic spin cast rod, ideal for the hiking angler. What I do like about fishing rods is the designs, the way they'd have these connections. I don't know why they have these, but these sort of bands around them and the logos. That's the kind of, I don't know why, but that's what I like about the rods, just the designs of them and where they put the logos and the bands and how they look as objects, but not, I don't know about fishing. These are indispensable fishing accessories. Looks like fishing rod canisters, various lures that they don't go into detail about. But I do notice stuff that I would have seen in our tackle boxes growing up. Not a whole lot to say here, everybody. This is kind of neat. An electric trolling motor. So what would that hook up to? I mean, they didn't have the batteries like we have today that are small and lightweight. Shakespeare 606 Super Wonder Troll electric outboard offers super silent trolling, 3 speeds in reverse. It doesn't say what it connects to, 6 or 12 volt. So I guess it would connect literally to a 6 volt battery, like one of those lantern batteries, or a 12 volt car battery. Wonder how long that would last you. Probably want to bring oars along with you just in case. Now, what I like about fishing gear of this era is the logos and the way the fishing line packaging looked. That's the kind of stuff that I nerd out over, and you can't really see what's going on with these very closely. I mean, even without the glare of light. Sorry if you weren't seeing that before. Some archery sets. Tennis. Badminton. I think tennis rackets look so much cooler in the olden days compared to today. Just, again, kind of like fishing rods, like the way the designs are on the actual objects and the different bands and logos, like banding. I mean, like we'll have like a stripe of red. I also like how they were wooden. They looked so much like more beautiful objects when they were wooden. Now here's some very Canadian specific stuff going on here. We've got item P here, the Cooper Canadian Youth Official Football. I believe the Canadian footballs are a little bit wider than an American football. Lawn darts. These things, I think, are lethal. I mean, they've got a weapon on the end, and you throw these projectiles into the air and they fly down. And you're supposed to get them into these rings as targets, but I'm sure many people have been underneath these when they've been thrown really high and have had holes end up in their bodies somewhere because of these things. And that's probably why you don't see these for sale anymore. Let's just admire the packaging on these horseshoes, on this package of horseshoes. So simple and clean, just like packaging used to be. Today, packaging is just way too littered with descriptions and photos and French and English and I mean, no disrespect to different languages, but there was something nice about when a package just had to say what it was in one language and you could focus on just the simple, attractive cover or package. Those are some great shoes. What kind of shoes are these? Training shoes. I feel like running shoes have come a long way since then. If you wanted running shoes, those are your options. You get the Puma Top Fit training shoe or the Puma Racer training shoe. You could get a sports bag. You had one option for a sports bag. Ideal for training shoes of sturdy grained vinyl construction. So I guess when you went to the track or wherever you use these shoes, you could bring them to there in your nice sports bag. Golf clubs. Let's talk about golf clubs. Admire, of course, the designs, the different colors, the patterns. I love the signatures and logos on these things. I'd say my favorite designs here, if I had to choose, they're all kind of neat looking as a set. This is the most boring. It looks actually the most modern. It says HTM. This one's nice and elegant. The Greg Payne. Is that what it says? Greg Payne? Gary. No, it says Gary Player, not Greg Payne. Yeah. Well, this one's kind of cool. It's got like an eagle motif on it with these stepped wings. That's kind of cool. I'm not sure how well that shows in the video there. But yeah, I think this one's one of the nicest here. We've got more golf stuff, a nice sort of smattering of whatever those are called. Tees. Is that what those are called? Golf tees. And that little like tee cozy for the top of your golf club. I do like the style of the numbers on these. I guess this is the whole set. So it comes with all these woods and irons, 25 golf tees, and then head covers. That's what these are. And some golf balls. It's like a whole starter kit for the brand new golfer. And these are some golf carts. Things that you stuck your golf cart, bag cart thing on. Equipment just does not look like this today. We'll stop here on this page because the next section gets us into a whole new territory. Moment of baby prams and then bikes. So we'll get into that the next time. But here are some more of these golf head covers, if that's what they're called. And they have these beautifully styled numbers. I really like those. And one of them has like the logo. It looks like the logo that I saw back here, Atlantic. So I guess that must be the brand. It's a seahorse wood cover in place of number for 2 and 5 woods. So I think maybe they're being clever or they're being lazy because they don't want to make new numbers. And they just put their logo on there. Now, I love these different golf balls. I love little logos on things. So this is a great, like, I mean, it could be a pencil, like a set of pencils and just the different logos that you see in the pencils. Here, it's just the logos and the numbers. A little bit of information on a utilitarian object like the ball. And I think I don't know what it is, but I just love that little information nuggets on utilitarian objects. It's the same thing, in fact, just going back here to what's going on the golf clubs. You have utilitarian objects, these clubs, and then you put a little bit of print and logos on them, and then they look cool. I'm a sucker for it. I think that's a good place to end today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this flip through this catalog. And again, we're looking at the ACME merchandise distributors. If you enjoyed this flip through today, let me know in the comments. And let me know if you remember any of these things and which ones struck up the most interesting memory for you. Tell me a story.